A controversial piece of housing legislation was passed at Queen's Park yesterday despite vocal opposition from protesters in the gallery.
Critics say the bill will make it easier for landlords to evict tenants from their homes. So joining us live now for more on this is Dania Majid from the Advocacy Centre for Tenants Ontario. Dania, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Maybe I can start by asking you what part of Bill 60, I know there are several parts, worries you the most when it comes to protecting tenants?
Yes, there is a schedule in the bill that directly focuses on tenants. And as advocates who have closely looked into this bill, all of it is problematic. Namely, the provisions around only allowing people 7 days to come up with the rent to avoid an eviction hearing. That is down from 14 days. If there's an error in your decision from the board, you have only 15 days to request a review of that decision, which is a complicated process. That is down from 30 days. If you are a tenant who has an arrears hearing, you are barred from raising your tenant issues at that hearing unless you pay up 50% of your rent, the amount the landlord alleges you owe in rent. And that is even before a determination has been made that you even owe that rent. And if the landlord wants to move into your unit, the landlord no longer has to pay the 1 month rent compensation if they provide you with 4 months notice. There are other provisions that are of serious concern to us in the bill, but we are still waiting to see the details around how those provisions will be implemented. But in fact, there's been a lot of investment in pushing tenants out of their units, but there is no investment in helping prevent evictions and providing the legal and income supports to keep them housed.
So Dania, how do you, I realize you're here speaking on the side of tenants here, but the government says this is actually going to be better for, housing supply, getting more people into housing, rental accommodation, et cetera, like that. Do you see anything in this that might help move people who need housing, and we know how urgently so many do, into housing, or does this not counter that at all?
Yes, this is there is actually no evidentiary basis for that myth that removing tenant rights will create housing supply. The government has already done this in previous bills. It has not resulted in the creation of housing. It's been done by past governments. And again, the evidence is not there that housing is created when tenant rights are removed. Instead, this bill makes it easier for financialized landlords to push out sitting tenants out of their units so they can exploit the rent control loopholes that remain in place in this province and be able to re-rent those units for double or triple the rent. And really, at the end of the day, the only target that this government will achieve is increasing the homeless population from 80,000 people to 300,000 people within the next decade.
Dania, last question for you. If the government claims that they want to fix the delays at the landlord-tenant board, what solutions would ACTO like to see implemented instead?
Yes, I mean, we've been trying to talk to this government about solutions. They have refused to consult with us, and they canceled this bill going to committee to hear from tenants. However, what we would like to see is the closure of the rent control loopholes, which are driving a lot of the bad faith evictions at the board. And we'd like to see reforms at the landlord and tenant board, including the return of regional scheduling and in-person hearings that allow us to have those meetings, provide the supports to be able to prevent evictions. And so we don't even have to go to a hearing at the board, and we can try to resolve matters in a way we know we can and keep people housed in their homes.
Okay, that is Dania Majid from the Advocacy Centre for Tenants Ontario. Appreciate the time this morning, Dania. Thank you.